If you've ever wondered why pros can throw so far with such little effort, and if you've ever wondered how they can be so accurate even with the toughest shots in front of them, it's because it's all about timing. Timing is the ability to coincide movement with external factors. Whoa, what does that mean? Basically, what it means is that it's a combination of decision making, coordination, and reaction time, which gets you, the player, in the right moment at the right time. And that's basically it. You just have to do everything at the right time, and your timing, obviously, is going to be good. So let's go ahead and let's hit the field and let's work on timing. All right, let's go. I am super excited. Well, actually, I got a question. That all makes sense. But what does timing even look like? I mean, how do I know when I'm actually on time? A watch is not going to help me with this. So, how do I know when my timing is right? Well, thanks to Robin at the Disc Golf Podcast for putting this image together a couple years ago. The player we're looking at is James Proctor. The one thing about James Proctor that stands out above so many other pros is that his form is simple and clean and easy for us to mimic and to compare. And so it's great that we can look at this. And now we're ready to head to the field. Well, not quite. It's great that we have this kind of information here. It's great that we can look at a picture of a pro throwing and really analyze his or her form. But the issue is, we're not throwing like that. I'm not throwing like that. And chances are, if you're watching this video, there are things about your timing that you want to improve, so you're not throwing like that. And that's okay. So what can we do with this information? We need to look at images and videos of us throwing and comparing it to videos and images of pros and really looking at them side by side. First things first, we're going to look at the arms and the hips because they work in line with each other. So one thing that you're seeing with Proctor's form is that his forearm is coming nice and flat across. Now, he does have his shoulder and his elbow. As that disc is going to come further into the power pocket, that elbow is going to pop up. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, stay tuned because a video on your elbow positioning is coming out in just a couple weeks. But this was something I talked about in my 11 tips video. Proctor's form here is before we get to this basic release and curl that we have coming out from the power pocket. So this is coming into the power pocket, so having that elbow right there is fine. Notice the hips. The hips are still lateral or parallel to the shoulders, and they're not necessarily swinging out in front of them yet, but there is a little bit of an angle. But the next thing is the knees, and this is where that timing and that body positioning really comes into play. When we're looking at Proctor, one of the things that we're seeing is that his shoulders and his knees are basically all in line with each other, and we go shoulders, knees, hips really here. And it's definitely something that I think is hard to do right on the spot, and this is going to take a lot of practice and a lot of videography and just watching your form in slow motion and in pictures to see the timing. But notice how for this right-hand backhand player, we have the shoulder, the elbow, the knee, and the toe basically all on a straight line, and it's not perfectly vertical, it's actually slanted a little bit. And so that is definitely an ideal position to be because that helps us know that we're bracing into our hips, okay? We're bracing into our knee, and that we're going to allow the disc to come out on a clean line. What's really interesting about Proctor's form in comparison to mine is that we see the hips really generating the throw. Notice how his shoulders are still pretty square, and we already see his back hips starting to come forward. That means that there's a split second timing here where Proctor's hips are actually leading the throw, not the shoulders and not the back. So this is definitely something that we want to emulate in our throw. And when we're talking about the power pocket or the power zone, the loading zone, whatever you want to call it, what we're looking at here is basically a perfect square between the two shoulders, the elbow, and the wrist. And we want to have this at this precise moment because that's going to help us propel the disc out without actually having to use our arm to whip it. So clearly there's a lot that's going on when we're focusing on the timing of our throw and trying to make sure everything syncs up properly. So what's the number one thing that we really need to work on? Well, according to Bradley Williams,
It's all about selling your soul to the devil.
I'm just kidding. That's really what he said, but he was joking. He said it's really all about your hips and the hinges. And I really want to focus on this hip idea. And that's because it is our hips that is going to help us begin our throw, getting that cascading effect, and really helping to create a lag, a minuscule lag in our throw that's going to propel the disc from our power pocket. So you guys can do the very same thing that I just did here. Take pictures of yourself, take slow motion video, and find some pros online, whether they have a YouTube channel or it's on post-produced coverage. Look at some clips of these pros throwing and just sort of compare it. This is something you can do while watching coverage or really sit down and analyze your form. But that's not the only thing. There's a lot that goes into timing. So to help with all of this over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be posting some videos for you guys to kind of watch and learn from, looking at different aspects of timing and how to improve your backhand throw. We're going to be looking specifically at drills that you can do to really help you with all of this. Well, and that's basically it. I hope you found this video informative and helpful and gave you some ideas and ways that you can start implementing timing and really learning about what perfect timing looks like. And stay tuned for those drills. Until next time, guys, have a great round.